What's up, guys? Today we're taking a look at this, which is the Desert Warrior Elementum. This is the original Desert Warrior Elementum, not the button lock version that just came out. It's got D2 steel and this really interesting coated G10 handles. You wouldn't think it's G10. It feels kind of smooth. It doesn't really feel like G10 at all, but it is. They use different colors. These are kind of crazy. They really put a lot of effort into getting all these different colors on it. You get the green, the blue, the different colored pocket clip screws, the inside tan color for the breading. I mean, they really make it look like a dessert knife, like a donut knife. So this is the only Elementum I've actually ever tried. I like bigger knives better, and for my hands, it just falls off the end a little bit too much, and so it's a little bit small for my hands. So I've only ever really tried this one, which it's a good knife. I find that I always slip off the lock bar. Whenever I try to unlock this, I always slip off of it because the paint is so, like, slippery. I don't know. It just doesn't grab my fingers as well as other liner locks do. But yeah, D2 steel, made in China, under Civivi. Of course, you can see there they even blacked out the pivot, or purpled out the pivot. Yep. This is a Desert Warrior knife, and this gives me a chance to show all my other Desert Warrior knives. I collect the Kalashnikov collection of them. So I've got all of these Desert Warrior Kalashnikovs. As you can see, this is the remix with the pink blade and the blue handles instead of the blue blade and the pink handles, of course. And I've got the mini, and I have the XXL, which won't really fit in frame, but stick that guy up there. Yep. So as you can see here, see if you can zoom out a little bit there, you can see my entire Desert Warrior Kalashnikov collection. These are all the Desert Warrior knives I've ever tried. I like the Kalashnikov collection. They look good together, so I decided those are the ones I'm collecting. I'm not really going to get any of the other ones. I know they have ProTech made one now, and Microtech came out with some, but those are too pricey for me, so I'm just sticking with the cheaper ones. Anyway, this is the Elementum. With, of course, the D2 blade and G10 handles. It's got the steel liners. They're not inlaid. I wish the steel liners were milled into the scales so that they're not separate on top. Anyway, nice lockup, completely solid, and nice detent, and it's centered. Is it centered? Yeah, it's centered. Yep. So this is the Elementum. Let's do some size comparisons. As I said, it's kind of a smaller knife, more like smaller than a bug out. See, this bug out is like the smallest I'll go for a normal carry. Unless I have like a backup knife, sometimes I'll carry backup with a bigger knife, and backup knife will be bigger, like the Banter. That's a really good backup knife. And compare it to some other Civivi knives. Got the Brazen, and I've got a Praxis here. So you can see it's definitely smaller than those. When I first heard about the Elementum, I thought it was much bigger. It surprised me when it wasn't. When I got it, I was surprised at how small it actually was. But yeah, it's definitely a lot smaller than the Praxis or the Brazen. And we'll compare it to some other USA stuff. So I got the PM2 and ZT0308. So you can see there's definitely a lot smaller than those as well. Yeah, it's not a big knife. Definitely not a big knife. Yep, there it is. I carried and used this one, and it's hollow ground, so it slices pretty well, better than a lot of my other knives that are flat ground. I don't know, the hollow just does really well. This paint coating is pretty strong. It doesn't really wear off, except for here where I stuck a quick stud on it. I stuck a quick thumb stud on the top, so I could use a thumb stud to open it, and it kind of tore the paint off a little bit there, and then also a little bit back here too, but yeah, it's just going to do that if you end up using this knife. It will come off a little bit. I found that throughout the use, but it works pretty well. It's a good knife. It's a good small knife. If you have smaller hands, definitely a good option. The D2 steel will hold up, and it won't rust because it's got this coating. Help it not rust. So, yep. Flipper tab is pretty small, but it works pretty well. I find just the paint throughout, the paint that they use or the coating they use on all of this makes it a little bit slippery, so you might fail it sometimes like that. But overall, it's not bad. You learn to get used to it. It's pretty snappy, good detent. If you really tried to, you could choke up here. You just don't want to get too close to that edge because it does start right there. Yeah, there's not much to say. It's just milled out on the inside for weight reduction, but it's a traditional Civivi knife. If you know their style of flippers, it's just another Civivi flipper. There's kind of a lot of them out. So, yep, that's the Civivi Elementum. Their clip works pretty well. I've always liked their clips. I've never really had a problem ever snagging them. I had a problem on my Bull Mastiff where it bent out once, but other than that, I really haven't had much of trouble with it. So, anyway, that's the Civivi Elementum Desert Warrior. Like and subscribe and comment what's your favorite Civivi knife, or comment what Desert Warrior knives you have. Because I'd be curious to know how many of you guys collect them. So, that's all. Have a great day. Bye.